International clients, kindly send a representative to the same office address. Human Rights Radio will not be held responsible for monies paid to any converser or anyone at all if the above instructions are not followed. Human Rights Radio.
Dividing broadcasting.
In a world filled with questions, many were called, two were chosen. Reality comes to play. Stories are made. Moments when you feel the fever. 1 hour. Arguments. Controversies. Questions and answers. Tensions rising. And more arguments. One man. One woman. One show. X-Ray. Airing live on Human Rights Radio 101.1 Abuja. Welcome to X-Ray, and thank you so much for being part of Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM. It's time to take a look at the trending topics, just like we started off yesterday. The week was good, but with some sort of news that didn't come out well to the hearing of many Nigerians. And today we're going to be taking a look at some topical issues that have occurred. We'll continue from where we stopped yesterday and take a closer look at some developments that started happening from last week. Welcome to X-Ray on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM. Today on the program, we're staying with the issue of monkeypox, which is fast spreading. And the suspected cases have been reported so far, and obviously there's a need for the government at all levels to take charge and also contain the virus, plus lots of other trending issues. On the program today, I have Barrister Idris Bauer. Good morning, Barrister.
Good morning, Peter.
I also have Oyi Keke. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Wale Williams joins us.
My pleasure, Mr. Peter.
It's good to have you on the program.
Fantastic.
Barely 24 hours after the monkeypox virus spread in Akwa Ibom State, more suspected cases of the disease have been reported in Lagos and Rivers states, bringing the total number of states affected to 7. The states affected include Bayelsa, Rivers, Ekiti, Akwa Ibom, Lagos, Ogun, and Cross River states. Confirming the latest development in a statement, the National Coordinator, Chief Executive Officer, Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, Dr. Chikwe Ihekiazu, said all 36 states of the Federation and the FCT have been notified, explaining that samples have been collected from each suspected case for laboratory confirmation. According to him, results are still awaited for so far, and there have been no deaths recorded so far in the reports. Just yesterday we talked about the spread from, well, let's not even call it a spread. It just moved from Bayelsa State to Akwa Ibom State. Now we have 5 more states included, including Lagos. Obviously, it has moved from the south-south to the southwest. Barrister Idris.
These are some of the fears that we raised yesterday, that we need to do a lot. Here we go again about issue concerning our scientists, the pharmaceutical department and all of that. This is a wake-up call that we should sit up and do what is necessary. First and foremost, there is need for proper enlightenment campaign. All radio stations, this should be our social responsibility for now. If it means every hour on the hour you make a statement about this, I think it's not too much for us to beg and plead that we should please see how we can sensitize our people on the need to be very, very careful about this monkeypox.
Now, this is something we raised yesterday. Again, most of the time these things start like like a joke. I mean, it starts like play. Obviously, in the FCT, a lot of times we have this tendency to think that it never will get to us. But
Peter is in Lagos. It's the hub of the country, where people fly in, out to every other part of the country. In fact, every other part of the world. So it's something that is very worrisome. If it's in Lagos, we have to, take every step necessary to ensure that it doesn't spread beyond that. Like I said yesterday, we pray, and I pray it doesn't get into our prison facilities. If it gets in there, to contain that would be much more disastrous.
Should this have been allowed to get this far? Okeke?
I don't think it should. Like we were saying yesterday, our fears have been confirmed. We've been saying, look, we don't want this to spread to other states. And look at what is happening now. If we are having this virus in 7 states now, by the end of today, I'm sure it must have moved to 1 or 2 other states, because movement of people, you can't curtail the movement of people. You don't know who has been exposed to this virus in these states, and then it's moving from these states to other states of the nation. So we cannot be sure how, by the end of today, I'm sure the numbers may even increase, unfortunately. I think we should begin to take the steps that we took when Ebola came into the country. We saw how everybody, had their hands on deck, and then we ensured that it did not spread to other states. So I think we should begin to raise those measures that we used the time Ebola came to tackle this. If not,
it happened just between yesterday, unless of course the information was delayed. What do you think, Wale?
Usually I want to believe that it's a natural occurrence, because for every period there will be natural tests of abilities, either of a nation, of an individual, of a family, of a state, and all that. But I think it will be better if we, like I always like to say, situate it the way it should be. State governments should rise up. They should empower the local authorities, local governments, and then the other one that I see as also very central are the tertiary institutions. We have a lot of health organizations in Nigeria with very huge overheads. It's a time for us to rise up to the occasion. It's monkeypox. It's like any other disease. Thank God they didn't say it kills per se, but it messes you up and then it collapses your system. But I think they should get up. They should rise up. The state government should make a very bold statement. They should publicize their plans so that the media, we don't even know what they are doing, so we can't even say anything with regards to the role of state governments nationwide. We want to know what they are going to do. Now, my fear in this instance is not even in the prison, like my colleague has said. We have, since it has entered Lagos, we have 3 major border towns on the road, the Seme, the Diroko, and the other one. If it leaves Nigeria, it becomes a continental epidemic, and we need to rise up. The state government must do something. That's why we still want to clamor for the support and empowerment of the local government authority. That's where, in fact, that's where I think it emanated from. The earlier, I think, the better. Honestly.
But again, the responsibility of the citizens. I mean, if we have to wait for the government, then honestly, how long are we going to be doing that?
The citizen is really handicapped. There's so much problem, so much pressure on the individual citizen. The issue of poverty is there. Honestly, you will not believe it if I call your attention to how families live and wake up, sleep and wake up every day. It's not always as rosy as some of us think, and don't be deceived by the way we dress or the kind of English we speak. A lot of families are going through pains, financially, morally. A lot of things are going down. Where will they live, how to survive, and begin to pursue monkeypox issue? So it's not what I want to feel happy about. It's a lot of problems. The average family in Nigeria is going through a lot. I don't know where we're going. sincerely. So when we begin to take up that responsibility, how do we survive? We don't know, some of us don't know what they're going to eat in this evening. Tomorrow morning is looking so hazy. Some of them no jobs. They have attempted several efforts. They have borrowed money. A lot of things are not working because even government regulation is anti-people. If you ask me, you pay, for example, you pay tax to federal inland, you pay to the local authority, you pay to sanitation, you pay to local government. All kinds of pay from nowhere. So the average Nigerian is saddled with enough. This may even just probably collapse the system.
Well, apart from what you've mentioned, what other means can the citizens, I mean, there's also the option of avoiding bushmeat and somewhat hygienic.
The citizens also can help themselves this time. It's just to look at basically what are those things that prompts one to having contact. I mean, to having the virus. So you try as much as possible. We should try as much as possible to avoid those things. At least let's avoid eating bushmeat for now. If we love it so much, let's avoid it for now. Let's try to report cases of, let's look out for the signs and symptoms of this virus and report immediately to health facilities available to you. That's one of the safest things. And then wash our hands regularly. So these basic ones that we can do as a people, let's do them ourselves before government can even come into it.
Marcia Idris?
Well, I think just like every person is saying, we all have a role to play. It's not about the government now, because if you look at the affected persons, they are the poor and the needy in the society. And before you know it, I even learned that one medical doctor has been affected too. So it's not about the poor anymore, because once it gets to one person, before you know it, it goes to the next level. Basic hygiene, I think we should, talk about it. What are those things that we need to avoid now? Eating of bushmeat, and I even the stuff I read yesterday, rodents, rats, and all of that, they can also transfer it. And you have food at home that is perched by this rodent, you don't wash it well, you don't take care of it, you still eat it, we are all exposed. So it's something that every person should, be involved in. Like I said earlier, our media houses, this is the time for them to wake up and sensitize every Nigerian through radio, television, so that we know what to do, how to take care of ourselves.
Another thing about this is when you say media houses, there's also the responsibility of the government to sensitize members of the public.
Of course,
what about the agencies?
We all have social responsibilities. The NOA, Nigerian Orientation Agency, this is the time for them to sit up and do what is needed of them to do. But we can't leave it out for them alone. That's what I'm saying.
Isn't there enough funding to finance media organizations who will carry out these awareness?
Peter, when we come to the issue of funding again, there I have a lot of problem. I have said it time without number. If you cannot count, you cannot account. We need to hold each government agency accountable. I don't want to, go over. If you hear what the wife of the president said about even ASO clinic, for God's sake.
Anyway, since you've mentioned that, let's move away from the monkeypox issue and move straight to the next topic of the day. Incidentally, it happens to be the issue in the ASO Rock clinic. Yes, quite a number of occurrences, honestly. So many funny information coming in. Wife of Nigeria's President Aisha Buhari has called for a probe of the State House Medical Center over poor health facilities in the hospital, despite the huge budgetary allocation to it. Mrs. Buhari, who condemned the lack of facilities at the hospital during a program in Abuja on Monday, equally lamented the total or dearth of some necessary hospital facilities such as syringes, drugs, and equipment needed for saving lives. She revealed that she wanted to do an x-ray at the clinic a few weeks ago, but was told the x-ray machine was not functional. The outspoken First Lady said the ongoing renovation of the clinic is baseless because the hospital lacked the equipment to save lives. This is not the first time we're hearing Aisha Buhari coming out to sort of like, expose certain things that Nigerians usually are not privy to. What's your comment on that?
Thank you, Peter. For me, I think it is a responsibility that is behold on every Nigerian to speak about what is not right. And for me, I'm not saying she's doing something extraordinary. ASO Clinic has been there for a very long time. Nobody has taken the pain to even understand what they are doing and all of that. It's not just ASO Clinic only. Every institution we need to hold them to account for the money that is given to them. What have you done with the money? And that is where, the issue of budget is a law. The moment it is signed, it becomes a law. And if you don't go by it, you are faulting the law, and somebody should be challenged. We need to test, and people should be held accountable. If you budget for something and it's been signed and becomes a law, and you fault it, for God's sake, I don't think you have any moral justification to even stand and speak again, because you have violated the law. So what she is saying is not out of the ordinary. Is something that is happening in every sphere of our lives. And we as Nigerians, we as a people, it is high time we started thinking of how to, take charge and hold our people to account for what is being spent. How much you have been given, tell us how much you have spent and what you use the money for. If we don't do that, we still go around the same circle and having the same problem.
I know, like we were saying yesterday, how ready are we as a people in terms of when it comes to emergencies, when you talk about health issues. If a clinic like ASO Villa Clinic will not have simple things like syringes, X-ray is not working, so where then can you get it to work? It's unfortunate. This has brought to bear the issues of lack of facilities in our health centers.
Is it not possible that if the leaders themselves were visiting that clinic, that wouldn't have been an issue now?
Well, I'm sure if they were visiting it, probably the managers of those facilities would have, been up and doing. But the First Lady was there, and then she couldn't get these things. So, like Bauer said, the time has come for us to follow the budget. Let's monitor the budget. Before now, nobody has ever said anything about, so billions of nairas were, appropriated to that clinic, and then they go there and they don't see anything. It's because the First Lady went to that place that we're hearing all these things, So the time has come for us to begin to follow this money. Let's follow the budget. So amount of money is appropriated for this year. Okay, where is it by the end of the day? And then we need to set our priorities. Like in that hospital, she mentioned that they are doing some renovations. They're building new structures. What are you building structures when you don't have drugs, you don't have the basic things that are needed to treat the people? How will the people, the building per se is not the most important thing. It is what is in that building for a hospital. If I go there and I can't be treated, so what do I need the beautiful structures for? So we need to get our priorities right. Our leaders need to ensure that first thing first, what are those things that are very important and key to the people?
How much is a syringe, for instance? Does anybody know how much it costs?
I think
is it up to 100 naira or 50 naira?
It's 100, 120.
Depending on the rent that the pharmacy is paying.
Yes, that's true.
So that determines it's a common thing in Abuja.
It's a very cheap thing.
Very cheap thing. Yeah. So
I don't think it's even up to. If you look at, I think it should be range between 20 and 50 naira.
If you buy in bulk, like a carton, it's in that range. But if you are buying at retail cost, it's 80, 100 naira or thereabout. I've seen chemist shops and clinics where in my presence, in less than 20-30 minutes, like 10 syringes have been used and dumped to the waste bin. So for me, I see it differently. I think it is a good problem. And as usual, it is healthier when inside the system they are exposing themselves. It is no longer the scenario where you do the carry go, chop by chop, and that's developmental for me. For me, I also think that my colleague had said we should follow the budget. Who should do that? The man on the street who's looking for survival? The woman who doesn't have capacity to, he doesn't even know left from. We're talking about illiteracy level.
Well,
Honestly, I said to disagree.
No.
Have to wait for.
That is
not know. I can't even remember. Is it the budget of the local
the
government,
problem we have.
the ministry, or the federal, or I don't know which budget?
Wait, let me explain. The problem we have is illicit. We have this. Our elites. We have a very big. In fact, they are the one ruin all our chances of making things work in this country. Budget is announced. You go online. You have. These days we have phones. Every Nigerian.
Nigerians can go online.
No, listen. No. It's not. You see, our kids. I can tell you, all our children at home, they know how to use the phone and all of that. If you take, it's about education, it's about enlightenment. If you take it upon yourself, you want to be educated on this, you will. We have NGOs who are doing budget tracking and all of that. They need to wake up. Our non-governmental organization, these are the areas they should, focus on and see how they can better the lives of every Nigerian. When we are talking about people who are poor, poverty is part. The non-implementation of the budget is what is leading to some of this poverty we are talking about. If capital budget money is released for construction of roads, for building bridges, for the average woman on the street will have something to sell. When you go to a site and people are working, pure water person have something to sell. So if the budget is not released, people that we are talking about who are poor are the ones that are affected most.
But in this case, the budget was released for the state
implementation. That is where we need to follow through. A construction site is
on paper, it is implemented.
It is
implemented.
That is the accountability we are talking about, Peter.
Average man on the street to be able to decipher the distance
Peter,
release,
an average Fulani man who is inside the bush has a small transistor radio.
Yes.
He's more enlightened. Go on air, speak about it. People will hear and know what is happening.
I think the time has passed when we would think we should sit and wait for other people to monitor this budget ourselves. I believe ourselves, we as a people have the power to monitor this budget. We all have a local government chairman, we all have a state governors. We can come out and ask them questions. If we continue to sit back, nothing will change. But I think we should have that change. That change is let us know that we have the power to ask questions. Let us know that we have the power to go to our local government, for instance, chairman, and say, Oga, this is how much did you get this month? What is that small money that was given to you? What is it going to be meant for? This is the amount that we heard you got. We have the power to do that. We don't need to wait for anybody to do it for us.
I agree with that sincerely. Honestly,
things will begin to change. Yes, in practical terms, yes.
Let's experiment. Let's use the whole of this week and see how many of us.
We may not be there now, but we can get there.
It's not as easy as that.
It's gradual.
Peter,
what we survive to do. Government uses instrument of poverty. This poverty as an instrument to spite the people. We hardly have time to even cope with our own basics, first of all.
But there can be a time for change, and that change will come from inside of us.
All right, it's time to change. We'll take a very quick break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at the other aspects of our topic of discussion and open the phone line. Stay with X-Ray on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM.
Human Rights Radio, 101.1, 101.1 FM Abuja.
Èyí ni rédíò olùgbèjà ará ìlú Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM Abuja ẹ máa gbọ́.
Join our diverse team of legal experts as we provide education and guidance to you, our listeners, on a broad array of issues raised by the modern legal landscape, absolutely free on Pro Bono Chambers, airing on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM, redefining Broadcasting.
Human Rights Radio.
To X-Ray. Welcome back to X-Ray, and thank you so much for staying tuned in to Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM. The studio is getting heated up, and we started off with a story about the monkeypox spreading to about 7 states now. The states included Bayelsa, Rivers, Brekete, Akwa Ibom, Lagos, Ogun, and River States. And then we moved to the issues of health concerns. Wife of Nigeria's president, Aisha Buhari, has called for a probe of the State House Medical Center over poor health facilities in the hospital, and she clearly stated that small items such as syringes and drugs and equipment needed for saving lives were not available, in spite the huge amount of money I beg your pardon, allocated for the clinic. And think of it, the number one woman in Nigeria could not even afford to enjoy an X-ray. It's such a big problem and a source of concern. But away from that, let's take a look at the final touch to this issue. Nigeria's Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ibe Kachuku, accusing the NNPC boss, Mekan Tibaru, of insubordination and $25 billion contract award without a due process being followed, according to a leaked memo addressed to the president. Yesterday, NNPC came out to debunk the allegation, stating that Kachuku's recommendations with respect to the crude oil term contracts were taken by the NNPC management. In their response, the group said that the law and the rules do not require a review or discussion with the Minister of State or the NNPC board on contractual matters. In addition, what is required is the processing and approval of contracts by the NNPC Tenders Board, the President in his executive capacity, or the Minister of Petroleum, or the Federal Executive Council, as the case may be. The oil firm also stated that the Minister exaggerated some of the contract figures he mentioned in his petition to the President and described the allegation as baseless. Reactions, please, from, well, we have Barrister Idris, we also have Wale Williams, and of course, Oye Kieke.
Sorry, Peter, before we go to that issue, we're trying to talk about the issue of this. No, not the poor man on the street.
Yes.
I just wanted to draw our attention back to two main issues.
Briefly.
Yeah, briefly. We have the student union body. What are they doing? We have the Nigerian labor contracts. What are they doing? These are vibrant, institutions that can hold anybody accountable. So when we are saying the poor man on the street doesn't have is, I don't agree with that, honestly. And I get moved when, because the power we have as people, ordinary people, is so huge. It's just that we don't know how to use the best. Elections are coming very soon. Hold on to your card and ensure that you ask questions before you make the necessary.
It's very American.
It's not about being.
Make your vote count.
Anyway, back.
Come home. See, take a cursory attention. Go to the streets of Nigeria. Enter Pape, enter Maraba, go to Yaya.
I have monitored elections.
Hold on. I'm not saying they shouldn't do it.
We cannot continue like that.
What
We
do
have
you
a
do?
change.
Talk in cheap.
It's not about talk.
No, we can talk.
It's about enlightenment.
In real practical terms, go and see how they are even
That's the
managing to
situation that
survive.
we shouldn't remain like that.
What should we
should
do?
begin to move for that change. And that
You need
change
energy
that
to
we
move.
need-
You need food in your stomach to move.
Good, so they will get them. If we continue to say, okay, we don't have the power, we're overwhelmed by poverty, we will not.
Sorry, my colleague, are you aware the police gives you permission to demonstrate?
It will remain like that.
Sorry, are you aware the police? You need police approval to demonstrate?
There is a
It's not about demonstration.
there's a court decision on that. Let me tell you, there's a court decision on that. I think we need to be that is where my issue of enlightenment comes in.
Enlightenment is first.
There is a court decision on that, whether it's Court of Appeal or Supreme Court, that has not been. I think it's Court of Appeal that gave every right. It's a freedom of association. It's a constitutional right.
Nigerians are trying. Honestly, I must say this one here and now. We are going through a lot.
And back to issue of Kachuku NNPC. As far as I know, I think there are discrepancies between the law setting up that committee and their rules, and that is a big problem.
Is it possible that there was just a communication problem
between
the minister and the NMPC?
I don't think so. It has to do with the laws in respect, because the group managing director is saying that I don't need to report to the NMPC, the minister of state for some decision, and I think that is very wrong. If you are a minister overseeing a particular department, that person should report to you. What if that is where the law, that is where I said the law is at fault, because some aspect of that law.
Maybe you help us look at that aspect of the law, so we can take a look at that eventually.
Yeah, okay.
But let's open up the phone lines and get our listener out there, be part of the discussion on X-Ray. It's 081 89 99 1011. Please put off your radio sets before you call us, and try as much as possible to avoid using profanities or unacceptable language on radio. Let's go to the phone lines now. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning, Mr. Peter.
Thank you for joining us on X-Ray.
My name is Muhammad Kamil. I'm calling from Newcastle.
You're welcome to the program.
Thank you. The child on this topic.
All right.
This is my contribution. You see, in this issue, initially, if I can recall, sometimes one of these brokers or their will say, I call up the media, we should only do interest in analysis. This is increased talent to every media houses. The media is not media close to us, that we are able to see and we are able to care and contribute. So we are always saying the part of people on the ground, we should come out and contribute. We are not supposed to have to beat this Nigeria. So mostly, to me, I believe media also, they are also part of the builders of this country. And thank God, we are at least, like this was speaking about, we are enjoying it. So we God Almighty give you the strength and do more. And I call on to all the Nigerians, we should continue to hand and treat this Nigeria positively so that it will be a better thing for us in general. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you so much for your contribution, and God bless you too. Hopefully we'll take more calls eventually. Okay, more are coming already. Hello?
Hello.
Please put up your radio sets.
Good morning. Hello.
Kindly put up your radio sets.
Are you hearing me?
You know, this is just clear instruction. We need you to put off your radio set, otherwise we'll have feedback that gives us a very bad signal here. Hello? Good morning.
Hello.
Please, can you speak up a little bit?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Obviously, something might just be wrong with our communication here. Hello?
Hello, Peter. Good morning.
Good morning and welcome to X-Ray.
My name is Ifeanyi from Abuja.
All right, Ifeanyi, go ahead.
All right. The issue on the serviceman is a good one. Let's take that yesterday. Now, our government are fond of enacting and waiting for the worst to happen before taking action. I said yesterday that the government of the day should take the process action to curtail the spread of this disease. And I said directly that if everything the problem that I have to do is mistake, now it is stable. And today it will continue. I said this government of the day to very unique for what happened during the time of Professor who took a great step in curtailing and finishing a dollar within the they will take some measure this time. If they don't have to do them consult for the way people but tell them how we did it during this time. So that the issue of monthly stock did not come to white Nigeria they are innocent. As for the that is the victim after killing, it should not, if the time are going to match their work with action. Just tell me, what directions have they given to people? What is different is the letter of the hospital in rural area. If that was after killing, will be that bad. What is different is the letter of the hospital in the hospital and the natural and the natural. Let them see how they can match their action in their work with action. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you so much, and God bless you too for your contribution on Human Rights Radio. It's X-Ray. Go ahead and let us know your opinion on the topics of the day, and let's see how your contribution can help Nigeria grow. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for joining us on X-Ray.
Thank you very much. My name is Ali Ibrahim.
Ali, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to press the price of a syringe is between 10 and 20 naira. The range is not even up to 50 naira. It's 10, I'm a pharmacist.
Wow.
You
So
see?
it's possible they can sell 3 for 50 naira.
Yes.
Wow.
It's 10 to 20 naira. That is the price of a syringe. The range is not there. It's 2 mil, 5 mil, and 10 mil. So those are the range, those are the syringes that are available, and it's 10 to 20 naira. That's one.
End of
Raising the alarm. Somebody said in the studio there, yes, it's normal. It's a normal thing for somebody, for a Nigerian that sees anything going wrong to have said something. But I believe that we should credit her being in the government and being alarmed or being whistle for the same government that she's participating in with her husband. I think it should be commended that she can say it, even though it will people, Nigerians will look at it that, oh, your husband has failed us. But she still does not fear to say what is going wrong under her government. I mean, the government is having, or as a first lady. I think she should be commended for that. That's my contribution.
Thank you so much, Ali, for your contribution. I think our panelists quite agree with you as well.
And just a place.
Yeah.
For me, initially, I don't think I like the style of Aja Ishabuari before now. But it took me a little while, you know, and having observed her, I see the kind of person she is.
It really is.
Yes, honestly, and she's an exceptional woman.
Yeah.
If we have women like that in society, I mean...
Hello.
Which radio?
This is Human Rights Radio, and the program is X-Ray.
Okay, good morning, sir.
Good morning, welcome.
I had a topic of discussion, talk about the issue of MNPC, the minister and the GMD.
What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Usman Yahaya. I'm calling for Federal Housing Debate.
All right, Usman, go ahead.
What that man is doing, that GMD is wrong. They are the one that trying to portray the image of North as bad people. I don't see reason why you say a minister you cannot be answerable to him. There is a law. Does it mean that he's a female in that ministry? No one is a supervisory, the minister supervising that ministry, whether the law is there or not. Do you mean that if God is not set a law, don't you know your father is your father? He made a mistake and he tried to portray the image of Lord, but from the Lord, I'm very, very disappointed in him. So we should change his character, or I ask Buhari to release that gentleman. You don't know what he's doing. I'm very sorry for what I say. That is my opinion, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Usman. Just pipe down a little bit. He's obviously not happy about the situation.
No, you see, in every situation, there's law, there's morality. But a law that doesn't have a moral face, for me, it's not a law. It's not a good one.
All right. Hello?
Hello. Good morning.
Welcome. First female caller. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you. My name is Faith.
Faith, you're welcome.
Calling from Mosetu.
All right. Go ahead.
I had all the friends in the studio, they just said everything.
Okay.
On my own side, I like what the first lady did. She's a mother indeed. But you know the problem?
No.
The problem is that the people that are supposed to use that hospital, they're not using it. If the president and every other person in the actual room there are using that hospital will be put in order. So that is just the major problem. They are not going there. So why the first lady discovered, because she said, let me just go there. If they are using it, I don't think they will be having all these small issues. That is my own take on that.
Well, thank you so much for that take, Faith. But the question again is, do we have to wait for the government to want to use it before those things are in place?
We don't have to wait. It's just God trying to expose the ills around, this system. When she was sick, she was advised, okay, let's fly you to London, and she said, no, I'm not going to London. I want to use this hospital. And I think I read the whole story, and I was so impressed with what she did. Actually, no, it behoves on, like I said, on every Nigerian to speak about what is good and what is not good.
I think she has set the ball rolling.
Exactly.
It's a good example.
That is how we need to start.
Yes.
Holding people to account. Now the head of that institution will be held to account for all the monies that have been budgeted, released or not released. He should let Nigerians know what he did with the money.
And heads will roll.
Exactly.
That's if heads will roll, because I've seen instances where the dust will raise, at the end of the day, goes back to normal.
Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning and welcome to X-Ray.
My name is Chris and I'm calling from Brekete.
Please go ahead. You're welcome.
Yeah, I'd like to read your case in the studio. I want to appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to confirm the words of the president. For me, I don't support because it's after medicine. The only, like, from my own opinion, if you like a lamb when she went to in the US, for the first time when she said that the husband, that the people surrounding him, that the people that hijacked him, it was that time they were already alarm, not now. Even though her daughter was raised alarm, so he was asking about 3 billion. So my question now is that for Nigeria and people here, I want the ACC, even if they cannot do any order, because if it is PDP now, that this can happen, they will don't Mago and all that, they don't raise the house 3 times. So that one, you don't need the people come out from the, and you don't need their external to end before the ACC need to act. Now this is the hospital, this is life. Go to any general hospital in Abuja here. I'm not talking of the other, you cry. So that is my contribution. Whether NNPC, that one. Yeah, but this one I want for my own good. I want EACC to act now so that we know that they are fighting corruption. Because this one is not far. This is budget 3 billion. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your contribution. We'll take a very quick break, and when we come back, we take reactions from the panelists and, of course, more phone calls. Stay with Human Rights Radio. It's X-Ray.
As the fourth estate of the realm, the media stands as the watchman of the nation. On Media Lab, we dissect the news items of the day through the men and women that bring the news to you to give you the full story. Media Lab, airing exclusively on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM, redefining broadcasting.
Human Rights Radio.
Has always been
Welcome back. We were talking actually, and you guys got us.
It's natural.
We were actually on putting Oye on the spot.
Yes,
she's been trying to talk since.
I wanted to talk about what the last gentleman said. Let's start this fight against corruption from the now. Okay, he was trying to say, okay, the culprit who is in charge. This money was released to someone, to this organization. Let's see what will happen with these revelations from the First Lady. What will come out of it? And that's why I keep saying that the fight against corruption of this administration should be different. You know, people should be seen going to jail. If we do this fight the way we've been doing it, by the end of the day, nobody goes. You know, on pages of newspaper, we hear billions and billions allegations. You know, by the end of the day, nobody goes to any jail. So this administration's fight should be different. By the end of this administration, we should see some few persons in jail. Really.
I agree with you, and that's where Barrister Bauer and his team comes in. We need to ask them. In fact, the query should start from the judiciary, because for us, it's corruption that is enjoying judicial protection, as far as I'm concerned, because it doesn't take too long. Why are we waiting? If by this time next week, this matter would have died down. And then, Barrister Bauer, I don't know what you have to say to that.
Peter, you see, in every society, we have our own problems. Our own here is arrest before investigation. I have not seen any known law in the whole world where they say you should arrest before investigation. Investigate, then you arrest. So it's a systemic problem that I, as a person, don't have control over. We need to have a functional police. We need to have a functional system for all of this to work. The judiciary has to be functional. The National Judicial Institute that is empowered to train judges, I can tell you, it has its own challenges when it comes to issue of training of judges. I spoke one time about the ACJA, the area that talks about community service, alternative to imprisonment. We don't have judges who are, trained in this area and all of that.
That sentence and our governors. Governors have simply been refusing to sign.
It's a moratorium period. I don't want to talk about that sentence because you all believe in.
The phone lines and get to hear from people who want to talk about it. Hello. Good morning. Please put up your radio set.
How are you?
I'm fine, sir. And you?
Well, fine, thank you. You, the panelists, I greet everybody in the studio.
Good morning, madam.
God is not one of you.
Thank you.
I'm going to comment on the first lady. She's a wonderful lady, and we thank God that she's been able to see what four people are suffering. And you believe me, there was a time they don't have to live in that clinic.
It's still so.
Some people that are using the place as NHS, they ask them to go and pay. You know what 30,000 means to a retardee or 50,000 to a retardee? They pay and the beginning of the year, they have not been able to collect ordinary paracetamol. They will go there, they will ask them to go and buy the seat. And here they devoted millions of naira to that clinic. It is a nice thing, I think. By her crying out, she's a wonderful recommender. May God protect her to longer life.
Amen.
I think Baba will for this one now, they will set up a board of inquiry to probe that hospital. That is that. The NNPC, I think Baba will not allow that man to work more than his name. Let him clear, let him speak out. And let them do the right thing. May God see us through and bless this country. Thank you, all the wonderful thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peter, you see, one of our problems is like all of this now. The people who are found wanting, you hear they are suspended or dismissed and all of that. It's not enough. They need to be tried. If they have money within their remit to remit back to the core government, let them be made to remit that money back to the
judiciary will not allow that.
I'm not a member of the judiciary. I'm a lawyer.
By extension.
No, I'm a lawyer. I don't sit in the bench.
He doesn't practice.
It's not enough. A lawyer is a lawyer. See, they have their
I practice, but my practice is different from.
They have their role.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Ali Ibrahim again, calling back.
Okay, very quickly because we're rounding
I'm
up.
sure Ali will support
All right, yes. We are talking about anybody going to jail so far, so on. The federal government, there are division the judiciary, the executive, and so on and so forth. After the executive cannot jail anybody. Most of the people being taken to court, the court processes are just not working.
Thank you, Mr. Ali.
They are truncating everything in such a way that nothing can happen to these people. So the blame should not be piled up on the executive only. All the arms of government are supposed to put hands together to make the country work. The blame should be apportioned proportionately. We've been hearing in paper that the INEC, they are trying to serve Dino Melaye a court paper, for an example. They cannot get him to serve. So how do you blame the central government? How do you blame the executive now?
How do you blame the judiciary?
I don't know. And then we, the people too, we are not helping the situation.
Thank you.
Because if somebody is caught from my village, before you know it, my village people will carry placards and say, no, it should not be so. It's not a thief. Our son is not a thief. Or he's a Muslim, he's a Christian, and so on and so forth. He's a Southerner, he's a Northerner. This is not helping us because criminality is criminality. I have not seen any religion that supports stealing. I have not seen any religion that supports corruption. I have not seen any ethnic group that say our own ethnic group or our own tribe supports it. Until we learn to be neutral on this matter and allow the people struggling with this responsibility to carry out their job without dragging in ethnicity into it, religion into it, we cannot move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Aliyu, and we will have to move forward from here.
Sorry, Mr. Peter. Like what my colleague just said, that
would be your final comment, actually.
They will usually investigate before arrest. Nigerians are too intelligent. Like, for example, the issue of the Asorok clinic, for example. You don't need too much investigation. First of all, keep the man. Thank God we are not South Koreans or Singaporean. There's no time to begin to talk back and forth. That facility is not working and a lot of people can't use it. They first of all pick him. If you allow him with the kind of money he has amassed, you will see him getting good lawyers and we will say it's democracy again. At the end of the day, the matter dies naturally. I'm sorry.
Barrister Idris is speechless but laughing.
No, it's funny because he has not, he's not been involved. Once he, for instance, done something and he's picked, the next thing will say, oh, why did they didn't investigate? So it's about human problem.
Final comment.
We are talking about human right. The man you are even accusing has his right to defend himself.
To steal?
No, not to steal. God, when Adam made the first mistake, he gave him the right to fair hearing. So each and every one of us will have that right to fair hearing. My last comment, I want to take it from where the last speaker said. First and foremost, we are human. For the simple fact that we are human, we owe ourselves that duty to always do what's right. It wasn't my making that I was born and made a Nigerian. God decided that, and not me. So if God has decided to take me to any other place, that would have been it. So let's treat ourselves as human beings first and forget whether you are from this tribe or not. God doesn't care about where you are from. But for the fact that you are human, let's behave like one.
Okay, you've been silent for a while. The dogs have to just push you down.
I just want to say, let's use this opportunity of the First Lady exposing these issues to beam our searchlight on our health facilities at all levels and ensure that monies that are budgeted and passed for these health facilities are used for the purpose for which they are meant for, so that Nigerians will stop dying. Some people are still dying as a result of malaria, because of our health facilities. So a change has to come. Let's use this opportunity and beam a searchlight on our health facilities in the country.
And it's time for us to leave the studio, allowing others to come in and give you what we have on the menu this morning on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM. X-Ray continues tomorrow and it continues down until Saturday before we take a break for Monday. Do have a lovely time, and remember, wash your hands. Maintain a hygienic life, a clean hygiene and as much as possible stay away from bushmeat. By the way, you didn't know something. Bushmeat doesn't cook easily. Sometimes if it's too dry and you cook it, it may not get into the main entrance of the meat itself. So as much as possible, try and avoid bushmeat for now, please. It will not kill you. Okay, let's stay away from trouble. Stay with Human Rights Radio. My name is Peter Kundum.
This is